I've hyped him up so much.
I think it's going to be Callback versus Chris. Who can make the plays? Because we saw Callback really opening the doors for top 5 yesterday, and you're putting all of your chips onto Chris, and we'll have to see whether he can do the same for the Chokebusters. But here we are on the mid. Both demos arriving at kind of similar times, different angles, and just trading stickies. But Credu getting very aggressive on the top here, just kind of chipping some damage down onto Ratslayer. Now Pappy is starting to make his move, but he gets counter jumped by Fluo. He's in really deep. Chris comes in. Nice rocket onto Ombrag. Second rocket takes him down.
Oh! He got that little air shot onto Credu as well. Picked up the health pack, and he's ready to come back in. Who is my next kill, says Chris. Oh, he ended up going down. But
there's a Rome, job done. You take it down the medic during a mid-fight, you can pat yourself on the back, let the rest of your team do the job. And they're continuing. Callback goes down, taken down by Crafty. And it does look like, despite all of that, top 5 have kind of won the mid-fight as Hems goes down. They're getting really aggressive here.
Wow!
Happy! 1 rocket, 2 kills, takes down Elocore and Credu. And no one's capping the point. Nuthouse is kind of backing off and thinking, tickle it a little bit, but I don't really want to stay here for too long. And Degu has 100% in the bank. So this, technically, Turbo, this is a mid-fight still continuing, but I think now that the Chokebusters have basically won it.
Both of these teams kind of showing a little trap there, as you saw 2 buff scouts trying to weasel their way into 2 non-buff scouts, but Elocore was the tide turner, and then Pappy was the denier, I suppose, and there we go. They've got that midpoint finally capped off, and maybe they can even start capping the second point that they've been fighting off for so long, holding the line, and nobody wants to really dedicate in except Flu. Flu will finally fly himself in, but they won't really commit all the way, and they're going to concede the Uber on the side of the Chokebusters. That will clean up the second point nicely, and they actually want to make the push for second as well. I mean, why not? They've got that Uber charge ready. They've got no real reason to actually use it right now, so they might even get the second for free and get this Uber nice and ready for the midpoint.
Yeah, that's actually really well played by them. I'm really liking Credu. He's just really being aggressive. Pretty much forced that Uber by himself earlier on. So Ombrak with 100%, Degu at about 50, and top 5 are already in here. They're trying to get aggressive. Fluo taking control of the top with Credu. Big jump in from Chris. Can he get the force? No, he can't. Ombrak down to about 50 HP. Picks up the pack. He's going to be absolutely fine. And the Chokebusters have to back off to second. They probably will have an Uber now, Turbo. They're at 75%, so if they build this hard, they'll probably have something to defend second with. But basically, Ombrak and Co have managed to pick up 2 points for that. Hems is in forward spawn on the sniper.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like they're making the push from grass. Very nicely played from top5rocket. Oh, actually, the Uber's been full exchange for both of these teams, but there was actually the Chokebusters that popped off theirs first, and maybe they could have just struck on that a little bit better, but they decided against it. They thought it was a bit too risky there. They weren't entirely grasping the scenario, so they decided to just back out instead, start building it, and you'd think that by proxy the Chokebusters would have a nice little advantage from popping first, but nope. Ombrak is doing a good job of kind of bringing back that line a little bit forward to a more stalemate scenario.
Yeah, I was wondering how fast-paced. We did see such a fast-paced game earlier on between my son's basketball team and Flowlout, but this seems to be a little bit more slow, a little bit more calculated. Ombrak does have a bit of an advantage, like 10-15%. Not too much to write home about, but it is something that maybe Degu has to be aware of. He is building with Crafty, so they are going to have Uber in time, I expect, but we are getting hit with a pause here, so... Just
it doesn't get more methodical than a pause, CeeJaey.
It doesn't. Time for you to think, and it makes you wonder what happened 90 seconds in the future to cause this pause.
I wonder.
But I just want to ask you about this hold here from the Chokebusters. You take a look. Like, we know that top 5 they're holding near Saw. You see Elocore's got sticky traps just littered around here. But we've got Chris and Pappy who are just kind of watching the same doorway, and it's kind of like this double spam that they're putting down here, whereas Ratslayer is just essentially watching grass, just holding that by himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the prowess of the demo man. You can just do it all by your little lonesome, and don't worry, it's not completely. I mean, you've got the backup of these scouts as well, just in case.
I mean, you were talking about Chris. I mean, he's such a beast that he actually eats rockets for breakfast. Take a look, take a look at his model. He is literally chomping on that rocket there. Let's get a nom in chat. But yeah, I mean...
It's just it's decoration, the rocket launcher. He actually shoots it from his eyes.
Yeah, he doesn't need a rocket launcher. He literally just shoots the rockets out of his face. But I'm just wondering, like, if you're in this situation here, are you wanting to send a soldier in from, window is generally where people decide to try to make a play from. We do see Ratslayer with the sticky traps there, so he's well prepared from that. But we have seen Credu on the sniper quite a lot in this tournament so far. Do you expect top 5 to switch off to a sniper at any point?
I feel like if my crystal ball is probably telling me that usually if there's a pause of this caliber, maybe a round has passed. Spoilers, I could be wrong though. But usually what happens is like a quick round happens and then they decide to make a pause because somebody finds out that there's like a bug in their mouse or something. But I don't know. My heart is telling me that there's no way that top5rocket would push in off of such a tiny advantage like this. It's just they would give way too much credit or respect, I probably should say, to the choke busters to kind of make such a pressing push for what is pretty much like tiny amount of damage that even Ombrak can't take a guess at what Daegu is at right now, and it's too big of an ask for any Prem medic. But I could maybe see like Elikor doing some sort of shenanigans around here, like just pulling some pipe kill out of his ass, and then from there the dominoes start falling. But we'll see.
It's all about that opening, and yeah, Elikor usually is the man to try and take some space and push the boundaries a little bit, see what he can manage. And Korbak is the guy to do one of those cheeky jumps and get something done. He is sort of making his way towards grass. He's just kind of looks like he's waddling along, so maybe he's going to be ready to get something done. And I don't know, I feel Ratslayer here is in a position where he could get pressured if someone was to make a cheeky jump through that window or maybe from the ground. We'll have to see how it goes. But I do think this is going to be a little bit more slow. I think top 5 are just going to be very patient with this. They don't want to push it too hard. Yesterday, we saw top 5 lose a mid fight on Snakewater. It was a long mid fight, but the Chokebusters essentially did win it in the end. Credit to Chris for getting that early pick onto Ombrak. But once again, we do see top 5 bounce back in the early exchange and manage to get something done. So I do wonder if that's playing on their minds, and they just want to make sure when they have a push, it actually counts. It actually gets something.
I know. I feel like maybe the medic kill is a little bit overrated on these mids. Sometimes I see roamers kind of barreling in too much, putting all their chips down for this medic kill, and they'll sacrifice everything for it. And when they finally do get it, he's already done his job. He's pumped out the heals for the rollouts, he's got those buffs out, and he's not going to get any major healage done on these mid fights when some of them go down so quickly. And sometimes you'd prefer just an extra guy with an extra gun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's all about making a big play like that. And yesterday we did see Korbak and Fluo kind of going all in, balls to the wall, just all or nothing. And most of the time they didn't actually achieve much. They may get a pick, get a demo maybe, or maybe even get the medic. But if you're trading both of your soldiers for that, you're trading off the high ground. You're trading off that control. And if you don't have the soldiers on the top, you don't have anyone to actually spam down there, it does make it very easy for the rest of the team to try and contest that. And I feel that's really something roamers have to consider on this map. Do you want to go all the way in and make a big play? Chris did. And he managed to get the medic pick, which resulted in his team slowly but surely winning the mid fight. But in the same vein, if he hadn't got anything, he traded his life for nothing. And it's up the rest of his team to kind of win the rest of the match or the mid fight 5v6.
Yeah, and if my memory serves me correctly, I think he was kind of the punishing force as well. He wasn't just the initial distraction or tanking all these attention or damage in for his team. He was the thing that they were distracting for. He was the massive blowing strike towards the top 5 rocket jugular to see if they can get this ball rolling on mid, but just didn't really pay dividends for me. Oh, there we go. Finally, the unpause. I can't remember a time where we've had such a long pause, actually.
Yeah, hopefully it's nothing too major that's affected the players. Nothing like a med disconnecting when he has 100% Uber. That would be an absolute travesty. But we are seeing top 5 rotating here, starting to walk through to grass, not wanting that double soldier spam that was coming in through Saw. And Elikor's just probing here. Fluo is looking at the window, but those stickies are being cleared by Credu. and Nuthouse. So no stickies on that window now, and they're able to just take this really slowly, Turbo. They're just walking in, pressuring the point. Ratslayer taking a lot of damage from the stickies. Big jump in now from Callback. He's going to put a lot of pressure onto them. There's a lot of players who are weak onto Chokebusters. Hems goes down here, but Credu trades his life as well. And wow, both soldiers, Fluo and Callback, going in, trying to make something happen, and both of them die.
Man, you could tell the plan for top5rocket there was kind of baiting some soldiers going for the jump or the force onto Umbrak there, but they just weren't biting. They were like, no, we could just sit back here on the high ground, keep spamming you to high heaven, and they will lose Pappy on the initial jump in, and they will dedicate an Uber to actually holding on that midpoint. I actually like this plan. It keeps it allows your respawners to come back into the fight, and maybe you can make just a scrappy little exchange or kind of trade from that point on, but they lose Umbrak, so everyone's mind over on top5rocket is on Daegu. They want to get the Daegu kill to kind of even out these Ubers and maybe the old initial fight. There we go. There's where that pause happened. So it was just Pappy. Actually, no, it was Ratslayer that disconnected. So it kind of took away from the sales of the Chokebusters slightly, but they still have got a slight advantage, and they'll know this, CeeJaey.
Yeah, they'll know, and they'll try to work something. You can see where Umbrecht stood. He's in a position where hopefully he's not going to get caught out or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see now what happens. We're basically in the same situation where we were before, with top5rocket in control of the midpoint, and the Chokebusters back on their second, but now they are holding much more passive. You see so much spam coming onto Daegu. Goes down to about 70 HP there. He's just getting so much spam. They're trying to force him before he even comes in, but he manages to wiggle his way in without using so far. Fluo goes down. There's a sticky on the floor. Daegu, he misses it, and still hasn't had to use that Uber. Basically taking the midpoint for free here, Turbo. And normally in that situation, you want to see a force on the medic so that they take the midpoint, but at least they've had to use their Uber, and then you leapfrog them. But in the end, top5 have had to give it up for free. But in exchange, they have managed to get Umbrak up to 100%.
I feel like that was down to the Chokebuster soldiers there. They just did a very nice job of kind of pressuring Elikor, and he had to sit back, get some heals, and it took a little bit of time to find those heals, and they couldn't really hold the front line anymore. Allow them to enter, and from there they could find the weak link, and that was, I think, a random flu kill that they got. And they are going to make a counter-aggression. Callback's in, he's on top of the medic, and he's actually forced off Daegu because he's spraying him with gravity itself, CeeJaey. He doesn't want to crater with that Uber, so he decides to pop it off instead. And look at Umbrak. He's not even in any danger. He's all the way back. He's having a picnic on second. He is loving life right now.
He's having a cheeky baguette because he has the time and the space to do what he wants. And Daegu there, if I was wondering if he'd done a cheeky little surf, just a little bit more to the left, if he'd landed on the shack, he wouldn't have had to have used there. But it's better to be safe than sorry. He did land on the low ground, which it probably would have been a drop to full damage, and you never want to see that. As a medic main, that tears at my soul to see that. But you see top5 walking in now, Fluo being very aggressive. But Chris on the spy! Who needs to play Romo when you can go to the French class and kill the French medic? That is a drop. First drop we've seen so far on this game today. Nuthouse, Fluo, and Callback also go down. Chris running the ambassador took down Fluo there. A 2k with the spy. So, wow. 2 players left alive here for top5. And the Chokebusters still in control of mid, so they can probably push on to second now.
CeeJaey, just to paint you a picture here, I've got like war hacks sort of enabled. I've got like all this spec equipment and all that.
I'm sorry, but Elikor just hit an insane air pipe onto Pappy. He was so close to dying. That was that was brilliant. Carry on.
But yeah, my point being was just I have a lot of equipment to see that thing, and even I didn't see that spy coming, CeeJaey. And most certainly Umbrak did not see it coming. There we go, the Uber is in now from the Chokebusters, and they've taken out the sentry gun from Nuthouse, and they've already got that point pressure. So much point pressure, where is the point defenders? It will be 1-0 already to the Chokebusters, CeeJaey. I was
looking at Crafty. You could see in his eyes, he was like, I'm going to stand on this point. And no one's contesting. Okay, I've capped it. Like, no one was pressuring because everyone was forced into the spawn because of that Uber. So that's pretty much a clinical by-the-book push there.
It felt like it was really lacking. Somebody was just not counting their role there. Do you think maybe that's the presence of Neo missed? It's like, Neo, you're supposed to do... Oh, right, you're not here. Okay.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, usually you have a dedicated person to try and block the point, but we are seeing a bit of a passive mid from both teams. We're not seeing Chris doing his fast jump or callback. They're just electing to wait here. Callback trying to control the top. Lands a nice little rocket there onto Hems, but Chris is the first casualty of this mid-fight, and maybe that's going to be the initiation for top 5 to walk across now, but they're still being rather apprehensive. They don't want to do anything, but I think the Choke Busters are realizing this isn't to their benefit, and they're just backing out onto second, keeping their medic alive. They do have the charge, but so does Ombrak, and it looks like they just want to walk straight through to Grass Turbo.
Yep, they are not faltering. They will keep moving forward. They have an Uber charge ready, but I've seen this scenario happen before, CeeJaey, and they just kind of played the meat grinder. But well, now that they actually have the advantage, what a massive bomb by Callback! He's still alive, and he's actually forced off the medic, and he's disconnected from his team as well. It's just Daegu left, and that is the round surely over. Daegu's going to try and put some resistance up, but you don't resist the Callback.
I was going to say, Callback's only on 4 points, and how yesterday we were talking about how logs and stats don't really paint the picture of a roamer, and Callback has just shown there. It doesn't matter that he's bottom scoring at the moment. When you make plays like that, you kill 2 players in the right place at the right time and get the force. You basically hand the round to your team on a plate, and our top 5 have clawed it back to 1-1 rather quickly there. So we're on to our third mid-fight here, and Elikor taking a nice fat sticky to the face from Ratslayer. Credu again just taking control of the top here. He likes to get aggressive on this side, and Pappy's trying to jump and just scare him away. Credu waiting for an arrow from Ombrak, but we see the deep jump from Chris. Doesn't get onto Ombrak this time. Nighthouse cleans him up, and this may be again the time for top 5 to start walking across the point.
They've heeded my warning, CeeJaey. They've heard me echo in the stream saying, beware of Chris, and they are identifying Chris, they are finding Chris, they are killing Chris, and that Chris's deaths are killing his team's chance of mid right now.
Daegu there, just staying alive. He was at 80%, so one Uber Sword would have got him the Uber, and you have to kind of think to yourself, okay, would have got the Uber, and if he may have got out to last there and reconnected with his team, or he could just hit his kill bind and respawn with the rest of them. He's still in the spawn queue for another 5 seconds now, so questionable play, but probably the same kind of play I would play. You know, just you got to go for those Uber swords when you get the chance. But we do see an engineer here out of Crafty. He's got a level 2 sentry up already. And we have Hems on the heavy too, so pretty turtly defense. We're just waiting for top 5 to see what they can do to try and get in through to last.
It might seem kind of a random spot for a sentry gun, but it's in front of that little pile of sand, which can make it a bit fiddly sometimes to hit the sentry gun, but not today. It will be. Nighthouse will clean that up with his demo man Elikor, and now they're in a peculiar situation where they're kind of holding on this left hand side and expecting top 5 rocket to kind of barrel onto the point, you know, kind of tank the stickies and then make the counter aggression over on the Choke Busters, but instead they met them. They just went to the other side, killed them, and then picked up the point.
Yeah, that was really well played by them. We did see hard gaming on this map against top 5 yesterday, running a Natasha heavy on top of the point, and I think that would have maybe worked a little bit better. We did see, I think it was Hems on the heavy, running Tomislav on the far side, and he just got focused down by Elikor really well there. But Callback jumping very fast into Kitchen. I'm not sure if he's been caught. Yes, Pappy knows he's there. He's going to try and contest him. Will take him down with ease. So that is the Roma down now for top 5. And that may mean Chris decides to start going for a jump. He does a nice little skip jump across the point, lands a nice rocket onto a group of players there, but they're already out, Turbo. They don't want to contest. Once Callback is down, they know that mid-fight is not going to be going well for them.
These mid-fights are so controlled, so methodical for both of these teams. All it takes is one player, one little advantage, one slip-up, and then they both like, right, let's book it, we're out, we've lost this. Not like the match we were seeing before where they were just throwing everything in the kitchen sink, hoping that something sticks.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you do see both Romas waiting for their moment, and Callback trying to go for that early play, and Chris just kind of delaying his, but it's you see those guys are the ones who are initiating, and Chris going down there as well. Oh, wow, what an headshot from Pappy! Takes down Callback as he was trying to get onto Daegu. Daegu surviving just under 100 HP there, but when you got Pappy hitting shots like that, it doesn't matter. Just keeping his medic nice and safe. So now we see the Choke Busters. They are 2-1 down now, but they're in control of the midpoint. They do have 6 players against 5. Callback's going to be respawning any moment now, but it does look like Ratslayer wants to take the initiative. He's taking a lot of spam with his medic, but they're trying to take control of Grass, but they can't. Really nice coordinated spam there from top 5, and Nighthouse pistols down Crafty.
Yeah, it's very engineered there. You can see Credu was just shouting to his team, the British are coming, the British are coming. They're trying to flood in from the green, and they kind of did a nice little rotate around with the team, and it was calculated just enough, CeeJaey, to just squeeze that one pick. Sadly, though, they lost that pick of their own just in a a random little sprawl in Saw Room, but what can you do?
Exactly, and Fluo died there. Eepily was not calling him out, but mentioning that Fluo sometimes died at inopportune times and put a lot of pressure on Elikor to kind of hold down these chokes by himself. And maybe it was Fluo going for a play instead of callback this time around, but we are seeing a sniper. It's Crafty on the sniper. He's running that Machina. Why not? It's available. Let's use it. Trying to make his way down to Flu Kitchen and see if he can make a snipe here. Ratsley is trying to make some space.
Come on, Crafty, I'm expecting that sound of that that Machina shot. How's it go again? Boom.
Oh, the collateral, yeah.
The collateral.
You just got to wait for them to line up. Unless it's a collateral, it's not worth using the Machina. Come on, you've got to get at least 2 players with 1 shot.
Yeah, on Sneakwater though, yeah. So I'm sure it's got plenty of sight lines for that.
Actually, we do see the counter snipe actually coming out of Credu. He's on the floor, so he takes down Crafty. Nice headshot there. It's the Machina. You don't need to headshot, but he does it anyway, and that's going to allow top 5 to maybe take some space of their own here. They're walking in through the choke, and it's not going to be great for an angle for Credu, but he's going to try, and he does take down Hems.
Man, it's looking like a point-and-click adventure game at this point. Use gun on man, and it's finding the bits. It's fixing the puzzle, it's playing the game, it's doing well for his team. I bet they're kind of wondering, why didn't we do this earlier? I mean, they force off an Uber now, but maybe it was probably best for Nunyo at this point. They get some of the respawners back into the fight with the respawner advantage, and they don't have to deal with a sniper sniping them. God, Pappy is just putting the team on his back! Oh my god, Pappy!
I attempted to scream "I Pappy" there, but I resisted. I was watching Fluo trying to make a play there, and he just lost the DM battle against your man Chris there, and that was on the flank, but then Pappy just absolutely destroying everybody in front of him, and that's allowed his team to have a 50% advantage here. They may just decide to push here. Credu is just about to respawn, but they're probably going to wait for the advantage now. Ombrak has 30%. He's not going to get his Uber anytime soon. Daegu just needs to build that up, and he's still going to have a nice meaty advantage to push into last. Nuthouse on the heavy, and Korvac on the NG. So pretty much the same as what we normally see. Credu on the sniper, though. We saw him hitting the shots earlier, Turbo. Can he get the drop to try and save top 5 here?
I mean, maybe they found the kryptonite to the Credu sniper. It's just like, let's Uber in. Get Pappy with a fat, solid single Uber. Maybe we can make some work, but even they're not going to think he could take out a sentry gun on his own. So they wisely Uber in Ratslayer and Crafty, and they're trying to pull out the round 1 shenanigans. Oh, fool me once, shame on you.
Chris jumps in on the left, takes down Credu and Ombrak, and then he's just going to stroll onto the point and cap it like a lad. And that was looking really bad for a moment there, Turbo. I thought top 5 had actually rotated really well. They moved their medic over to the far side, and I thought Credit was going to get something done, but no. Chris just jumps in, takes down 2 with the 1 rocket, and job done. Job done. He just walks onto the point, and Crafty this time walks onto the point, and unlike the last time, he was just kind of left unattended. He actually did get contested by top 5 this time, so they are learning.
Who do I watch on mid, CeeJaey? Chris is going insane. Pappy's going huge. Korvac is having a decent game as well. It looks like Flu wants to kind of get into the action, and he's divided out the time. Korvac!
He jumped all the way around. He jumped into Saw, and he was already through on grass, close to kitchen. And Daegu had no idea because Fluo also jumped in deep. We're just seeing they're just going back to square one, Turbo. They're just saying, fine, send both soldiers over straight away. Let's get right in their faces. And that was a really well played by them.
What have they been feeding these soldiers, CeeJaey? They just seem to be kind of fighting for the camera right now. They all want to be a part of the spotlight, and God, this is a real nail-biter of a game. 11 minutes left on the clock, 2-2. It could be anybody's game at this point.
It's kind of... I don't know where the big play is going to happen from next. The soldiers are just playing insanely. They're just jumping in and out perfectly the right time, and are making the openings for the rest of their team to just look good and get those cleanups. But top 5 capping the second point now. Daegu actually has built really, really quickly, and he has 100%. And I'm not quite sure how that's happened. So top 5 may not be expecting 100%, and they've actually countered the Uber here. Pappy is going to be on the chase. Does take down Nuthouse. Elikor only really got the sentry using that Uber, but Ratslever gets dropped there by Callback.
Yeah, I would take that trade any day. And look, they're making this push in. I mean, Ratslayer's down. That's a free doorway if I've ever seen one. But the shame is they lost Big Boy Callback, and it feels like a big name on this team, and they decide against it. It's just too scary. I mean, it is defender's advantage, CeeJaey. Can be a... And it's Snakewater last as well. Again, just a lot of these little details that maybe you and I might not notice, but these Prem players have all seen before.
Yeah, they just don't want to risk it and rush it because, you know, there's not much point in going all in. But we do see Crafty on the spy. He is in the spawn. I'm not sure. Yeah, he switched off to sniper now. Pappy gets cleaned up there by Nuthouse. Big jump in, straight to me. That's a drop. Callback takes down Daegu. 100% Uber is used instantly by Ombrak, and he's just going to send in Fluid to try and focus down Ratslayer. Surely going to die here. No, he manages to escape in the spawn. 8 HP. They're flooding the point now, Turbo, and that is going to be a round.
Oh no,
no one on the point.
Player could have blocked that, and Hemsy was just too scared. It was too big of a blob. It was too big of an advantage. One earned by top5rocket at the start there. They got the Pappy kill whilst I guess was it Crafty or Hems or whoever was kind of flicking between all the classes doing a bit of class shopping.
It's just I just think the soldiers now have a chalkboard and they're just kind of, you know, big plays. All right, that's +1 for callback. You know, seeing who's going to have the biggest, you know, the most clipped moments from this game so far. As we see Pappy and Fleur going head to head. Credu actually gets credit for the pistol kill there, but Elacor's just strolling across the point, takes down Deggy with the stickies. Nuthouse is going to clean up Chris, and it does look like in the end that top 5 are going to be in control. Hems is still fighting valiantly against a very weak Credy there, but 19 HP between the two Bustaz scouts. I don't think they're going to want to contest against Ombrak with a 90% Uber right now.
Yeah, he is the difference maker, and that just goes to show the strategy for top5rocket is once they get aggressive, get fighting on their side of the map, Ombrak isn't really dealt with at all. He's on the back burner in the minds of the choke busters, as we do have a pause. Don't worry, you're not crashing, internet. It's
no, it is a pause. It is pause, and you know, just one pause just wasn't enough, Turbo. You got to have at least 2, just to build up that suspense. You know, we've seen the mid fight now. That's too much action for us. We're not allowed to see much more action. We have to wait a little bit. But this doesn't look great for the choke busters right now. Ombrak is going to have 100% Uber very soon, and Elicor and Fleur are going to respawn. So I would expect them to take second off of this for pretty much for free, and then stroll into last. So we'll have to see what kind of off classes are going on. But basically 8 minutes or so to go. Turbo, can you give me any sense of a prediction for how this is going to finish?
I don't know. I mean, they've won mid, CeeJaey. They've got a round up. It's 8 minutes left. If they could maybe shift this into the reverse gear rather than the 5th gear and just start kind of slowing down the game, kind of, I guess in the terms of Corndog or Connor gaying it. No need to push. It's time to just cradle back and wait for the round timer to tick down.
You do wonder if they're just going to sit outside and, I don't know, get credit up on Sniper and just wait, you know, just chill and just say, hey, we're gonna turtle this up. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're feeding the bit between their teeth right now, and they want to get that extra round. A 2-round buffer heading into, you know, the last 6 or 7 minutes would be pretty comfortable, because then you've got that buffer just in case you lose a round. As we are unpausing now, so we'll see what they decide. I'm going to expect them to try and go with a push here, as Callback is already... I expect Callback to be in last before the Uber comes in, the way that he's been playing so far today.
All hands on deck for the choke busters. It's time to go every off class under the sun. Well, I say under the sun, they've actually just rocked the sentry gun. I thought they would get maybe a sniper involved, maybe a heavy weapons guy, but no, going surprisingly cookie cutter, apart from the obligatory engineering. There we go, they're going to Uber in over on top5rocket, see if they can at least force out this Uber from Daegu, and they get the sentry gun kill on their back out. Maybe not necessary, but they really wanted to take it down for whatever reason, and there you go. Spending too much time taking down that sentry gun, and you've been punished for it. Ombrak was just chased down by Daegu's Uber, and from there they can make a lot of decisions, a lot of easy decisions, CeeJaey, to actually take the second point. They even get a bonus callback kill as well, so that headache has gone out of their mind.
That could have been so much different if if Elikor hadn't have done a little jump there. If he just walked up and shot the sentry would have gone down and the rest of his team could have got in there. But he jumped and got denied by the sentry. It wasted a lot of the Uber, and Daegu could milk it just slightly longer, which enabled him to have the better exchange there. So it's just those kind of tiny little details that make the difference in the long run, and that's allowed basically the Chokebusters to get back into this. Now they do have an advantage, and we do see this is where the pause happened.
Tactical pause?
Tactical pause. I don't know, just to think what they're going to do with this push, whether they're going to go in, where they're going to go in from. Pappy is already walking in. He's not scared. He's just going to say, hey, guys, we're in. Let's jump. And he's jumping onto Credu. Lands a nice rocket just to force him off the high ground. Fluo also as well.
Ooh.
Pappy does go down, though.
Very nice sync play from Credu and Flu. You can tell they played on the team before, realising that Flu got some nice healthy damage at Pappy, and there we go, the follow-up by the rest of top 5 Rocket to clean up that kill as well. And again, this game has been very methodical, CeeJaey. One pick goes down, they both teams kind of just back off or know how the story's going to go, and things kind of go check into another gear and go into another stage of the game. Nobody's really risking anything right now, just playing it very patiently as they're making this push onto second, and they will be forced out of their Uber, but they will get a Flu kill to kind of turn the tide of that. And Ombrak, he's milking it for all it's worth. He's not even using it. How can you call it a milk when he's not even using the Uber? He's gonna get second for free at this rate. For the love of God, Ombrak, they're dying in suspense, and Korvac's actually going to get the Pappy kill as well. He's probably going to go get punished for it by Hems. Oh, is he? Oh, there we go. Hems will actually clean up that kill, but Ombrak is still using that Uber. I think he forgot about the concept of Uber. There we go. On the edge of our seats, he will pop it now, but he's lost Elikor. I mean, they could just push back out here, CeeJaey. This is kind of uncomfortable.
I was holding my breath there because there was arrows from Daegu just whizzing past Ombrak's face, and he could have dropped from an arrow there. But like you said, they are pushing out here to Chokebusters take down Nuthouse, courtesy of Ratslayer, and Fluid does a nice little jump to get out through the choke. He decides this is not worth his time, and because of that milking, it was good, and it could have won them the fight if they hadn't have dropped Elikor. But that does mean Daegu has 75%. That's a 25% advantage over Ombrak, and Credu is building here hard with the arrow building as well, just trying to get that Uber up. They're making up the time. Crafty also goes down to Elikor, so I think top 5 have managed to kind of get them back into this game from a bit of a disadvantage.
If you're on the side of the Chokebuster, CeeJaey, do you start feeling the squeeze of that timer? Is that 5 minutes left got you sweating bullets at this point, or
it's clenching bum time? It's definitely, you're just kind of thinking nobody wants to be the player to make the mistake, especially the medics. You don't want to be the guy that drops and concedes a round for your team. It's a little bit easier for top 5. They are 1 round to the good, so they have a little bit of a space to make mistake. It's not the end of the world, but I think the Chokebusters are looking at this. If someone does make a mistake, it is pretty much curtains. The way that this game has been going, it's not been fast-paced. It's been kind of point-to-point play. So it definitely is. I think it's your man, Chris. Your man Chris has to make a play here and get something done, and he's switched to Spy.
Oh boy, it's time to panically go through every single viewpoint to find that Spy. As yes, he has cloaked in. He is quite far from the action though. It's going to take a bit of time dedicated to just crawling through these choke points. Hopefully his cover doesn't get blown during all of it, because there's a lot of time to dedicate to this strat here, CeeJaey. Spy takes a lot of time to kind of pay off.
It's kind of low risk, high reward though. If you send in a Roma, you're pretty much going to die. He's either going to get the force, get the kill, whatever. But a Spy, you can take your time to get something done. And you can just see Chris here. He's in a decent position to just wait and wait and wait. I mean, Ombrak is as far as you can be. So he's going to be difficult for him to get up there. But I think the longer this goes on, the more top 5 are thinking there's a Spy, and Nuthouse is just spamming some shots around. So I think they suspect it.
I mean, at this point, you just dissolve the knife and just go with the pistol instead. He's actually opted to go for the Demoman pick instead. They have actually found the Spy, and Elikor was none the wiser. You think he would be turning around there, his team probably screaming, Spy, Spy, and Elikor's like, yeah, well, I've got a sticky tag.
Credu actually typed in chat, Spy, and then said, get Chris to bomb. So I think they knew there was a Spy, they were just waiting, and he could have got the pick onto Ombrak there. Unfortunately, he didn't call back going in for the counter bomb to try and get something done, but doesn't manage to it, and Chris just switches back to Soldier. He's going to respawn on Soldier, And I expect him to go for a bomb now, or maybe just a drive push here as Pappy starting to peek here through Saw. Gets a rocket onto Fluo just to force him away, but it really is up for them to make a move here.
If less than a minute is trash time, CeeJaey, I'm going to call this part of the game dum-dum time, because this is the point where you start thinking to yourself, like, well, I know it's not the ideal move, but we've got to do something. I know that pushing through choke by myself and trying to just force the medic is not going to work, and it's pretty dumb, but I've got to do something. And that's what all these is going through the heads of the choke busters right now. They're just like, this isn't the optimum move, but I've got to do something, and they're moving in now. top5rocket actually want to put them out of their misery, and oh god, it is feeling pretty miserable. They do have
we have a banner. There's a battalions. Pappy running the battalions has jumped in there, trying to get some damage. His team are taking less damage, and it's helping them lose this fight actually, as they are 3 down. Crafty and Pappy, the only combat classes alive. Daegu sticking as close to them as he physically can. Fluo surely is a kill here. No, he manages to jump away. Well played by him. And I was going to say it was questionable there. I mean, Chris was down. Did top 5 really need to push in on second there? They could have just eked out a little bit more time, but they were feeling aggressive. They wanted to go in and take a hold of that advantage, but we're back to where we were, Turbo. Under 2 minutes to go now. Ombrak has 100%. Daegu has 100%. And they're coming in straight away. Crafty takes down Fluo. That is a dropped pocket soldier, and that's given them the space. Crafty also takes down Callback. Both soldiers are down, and Crafty is on the warpath. And this is looking good for Choke Busters right now. They're all the way in, Turbo.
Oh my god, Nothaz is on the back ropes as well, and he's trying to back out with the rest of their team. Let's have a quick check of the timer. 1 minute left, CeeJaey. It's possible, it's doable, but will it be actually physical? I don't think it will happen, surely. They're not gonna. It can't be in the stars for them. They're sending in the big bomb onto Daegu.
Oh,
that's going to be
great bomb.
Surely that's tatters for this now. They're still going in. They've actually got the Nuthouse kill. They want to keep piling it on, and they've got a massive flank round, but he will be cleaned up, and that has got to be the nail in the coffin, CeeJaey. I've already said it like 4 or 5 times now. That's got to be it. That's got to be it. And even Pappy will tap out. GG by the man, he says. It is 3-2, 30 seconds left, but I'm already calling it. Time of death will be 32 seconds, and believe it or not, 3-2 on the board as well. It will be a top 5 victory. GG's are being exchanged amongst both of the crowds, and what a game, CeeJaey.
Brilliant game. I mean, that was that round there. That exchange, Fluo with a huge play to take down Daegu. Takes him down again here, in what is basically dead time. But him killing the medic there, his team just basically was allowed to just DM then at that point. And that just played into their advantage. They had great DM and just were able to win that exchange just running around, and they didn't. That's the thing, when you have a team that has to force the issue, the enemy team can just wait for you to make a mistake and let them play into your hands, and that's exactly what top 5 have been doing for the past 5-10 minutes now. Great game. 3-2 is probably closer than what a lot of people expected. Based on what we saw yesterday, it was a 3-0-1 product for top 5 against the Choke Busters. But that is our first Prem team that we've seen get knocked out of this competition, Turbo, and top 5 through to the semi-finals now.
Okay, I had the audacity to alt-tab for my game then, and I think I kind of went radio silent. Sorry to keep you in suspense, but I'm just trying to track down the logs as we speak. But in the meantime, I guess without even looking at the logs, CeeJaey, we always say the logs don't matter anyway. Was there anyone kind of crowned the MVP after all that bloodbath, in your opinion?
It's a difficult... Like, you could just say all of the soldiers played very, very well. I mean, especially Pappy, just in the exchanges with the combo, was just pounding. Like, he was just destroying everything. He did his job perfectly, and Chris was really making a lot of openings, especially on that first mid-fight, taking down Ombrak with a precise bomb. Also, you know, Callback also did extremely well in being in the right place at the right time, as we always say. Looking at the logs, he did die 20 times. That's the most times of anybody in the server. But if you're getting your job done, then I think you can be forgiven for that. But I felt Crafty there. He did top frag 20-9. So to be in that situation when you're on the losing team, he did come in, and a couple of those Ubers, especially at the end there, I thought the choke busters were maybe going to get a round off of the back of that, because basically just took all of the Uber and just said, right, just give it to me and I'll frag, and it's exactly what he did. So it's hard, but I'd have to give it. I just have to say soldiers. I just have to say pick a soldier, and that's your MVP.
I know, man. You think after all of that the statistics would back us up, but the MVP, I guess, in Logs.TF world is not Pappy, it's not Callback, it's not Credu, it's not Flu, it's not anybody of any soldier caliber, it's not even the mighty Chris. It is Elikor with his fat kill-to-death ratio of 3.4. 5 deaths on the man, but 17 kills on Demo Man, no less. 2017 Demo Man, let me keep you well reminded, where it's not as easy as it used to be, and he even got top damage as well to kind of top it off. And it wasn't flashy, but it was solid, it was consistent, and it was a driving force for top5rocket, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, let's remember these logs here. It says 36 minutes. It's actually only 30 minutes, because we did have a lot of pause time. So the DPM stats are going to be slightly altered. Elikor there with 9k damage is absolutely insane. The next highest was Pappy with 7.7. Everyone else is around the 6k mark. So Elikor was just pumping out the damage the entire time there, and that just allowed Credu and Nuthouse to try and get those clean-up frags. So yeah, I mean, Elikor was just kind of quietly doing his job. I guess he didn't do anything flash. He said he was just turning up and just doing what he needed to do to help his team get the victory. So 5 air shots as well on the man. That's not a bad shout there. So I think they'll be impressed with themselves. That they just managed to seal out the victory. But I also think looking at the other teams, because it's not really a surprise. We can look at the other results. We had 3 Prem teams against 3 high teams, and Low Panda beat My Son's basketball team 5-0. 7 beat Hard Gaming 6-1. So, like I mentioned, there was potential there for Hard Gaming to get something, and the Italians did nick around. But in the end, it was the win difference of 5 for 7 to take it through. And Antic also 6-1 victory against Red Pandas. So we're going to have Low Panda versus top5rocket. We're going to have 7 versus Antic in the semi-finals. And I do wonder if top 5 are going to be feeling kind of more suitably warmed up, because they've the Prem team, the other teams have had slightly more one-sided games, and whether that will kind of fare better for them in the long run. But either way, I think they'll be pleased with this victory here.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be in the head producer's shoes right now. You have to choose between these 2 games to cast CeeJaey. I wouldn't know what to pick. At this point, I'll just panic and not pick anything. But I am being whispered in my ear. We will go and, vary it up a bit. Look at some teams we haven't looked at for a little bit now. We've had a bit of top5rocket. Let's dip into the 7 and Antic game, CeeJaey.
I wanted to see that yesterday. He was drooling at the prospect of that happening in the Swiss. It never actually did happen. And I was interested. We did say Antic once yesterday against Low Panda, and they got swept aside 6-1. It was very one-sided. So Antic, I don't know, maybe just wrong map at the wrong time. We saw some interesting mid fights from Low Panda at that point. We saw like a heavy and a sniper at mid on Gullywash. Probably not the best map to pick against them. So I'll be interested to see what maps we end up, or map is only best of 1, of course, which map we end up playing, because 7, not saying they've looked shaky, but they've had, they're playing a couple of games. They've had AMS murking in a golden cap, and Starkey was playing demo earlier on today. It'll be interesting to see how suitably prepared they are for this map against Antic. So I do think that's going to be very interesting to see. We did see Low Panda versus top 5 yesterday. So that should be also a very good game. I expect top 5 learn some lessons about map picks and what to do against Low Panda. So any of these 4 teams could get to the final.